They are laughing the same way they all laughed during the budget when they talked about raising NI. They have no idea what people out there are dealing with. And that is why yesterday we voted against his damaging jobs tax. Even former supporters, Chef Tom Kerridge, who endorsed Labour at the election, said that the budget was catastrophic. He built a real business employing young people, unlike his cabinet of trade union stooges, CV embellishers, and an actual fraudster. None of them have ever run a business. Why won't he listen to business who are saying his budget is catastrophic?
The Labour Party MPs have had enough. Their frustration has boiled over, and they are now openly challenging Starmer. We have details about a heated meeting that is literally tearing the party apart. But that's not all. We'll show you how this internal conflict, coupled with Trump's upcoming visit to the UK, is causing a disastrous decline in Labour's ratings. Let's discuss the Labour Party meeting that created a real uproar. The room was packed with MPs, all eager to voice their opinions to Starmer. The tension in the air was so thick it felt like someone was about to ignite a powder keg. And oh my, that powder keg did explode. One MP stood up and directly called Starmer a spineless jellyfish. Can you believe that? Another accused him of betraying the working class.
Labour are rattled.
Yeah.
They're rattled.
They're scared.
Streeting is rattled.
Mm-hmm. They're going down. They're not popular. I mean, this is the worst start for any government. I think Keir Starmer is the worst ever Prime Minister, and it shows in all the polls. His popularity has sunk.
Keir says Khan wouldn't work with reform to look at employing more police to tackle knife crime, which predominantly affects black youths in London. That's how much he cares. So that was what it was. So instead of dealing with the issue and saying, you know, we all need to work together, this politicking comes into play once again.
Yeah, I think it's a bad characteristic to be stubborn in politics. I really do. I think sometimes you need to deal with a cross-party approach. But just to be so principled, I think it's a misguided principle, but just to be so principled to say, reform, I don't want anything to do with it. I think that's so counterproductive.
Well, it's actually pathetic, and it's not what he should be saying or doing at all. But I'm afraid that man, for me, another one that I think is an absolutely appalling person.
This meeting was far from just another routine day at the Labour Party office. It served as a stark warning that the internal rifts within the party have reached a breaking point. With the next general election looming, they have increasingly limited time to address their issues and present a united front to the electorate. Now, let's discuss the latest polling results for the Labour Party. Do you recall the days when Starmer and his team exuded confidence, feeling invincible? The most recent data reveals that support for the Labour Party has plummeted so swiftly that it would give even the most daring skydiver pause for thought.
I think Starmer's one of the worst prime ministers we've ever had, and he's only been with us 81 days. But look what he's done in those 81 days. He's allowed the Chancellor to go ahead with a scheme where 4,000 pensioners could freeze to death this winter, and those are Labour figures, by the way, not Tory figures, OK. He's introduced a raft of policies like energy, which could make us dependent on overseas energy ad infinitum, so dictators around the world will control what we have in this country. Never mind the sleaze. I mean, goodness gracious, he stood up in the Commons once, looked across the box at Boris Johnson and said, sleaze, sleaze, sleaze. There's never been a sleazier Prime Minister. Never been a sleazier Prime Minister.
Then Keir Starmer.
Never.
So what makes you call him sleazy? Sleazy's an interesting word for you to use.
Well, if you're walking around in other people's suits to try and improve your image, I saw one...
Well, it's his suit, it's just paid for by somebody else.
They have lost as much as 10 points in just 2 weeks. His personal approval rating is so low that it's nearly subterranean. It must be quite humiliating when your popularity is on par with that of a root canal. Even the traditional Labour strongholds are beginning to show signs of weakness. In cities like Manchester and Liverpool, where Labour has historically enjoyed strong support, there are now alarming indications of decline. While the Labour Party scrambles to extinguish a fire in their own backyard, the Tories are throwing a full-blown celebration. They are practically dancing in the streets, reveling in the Labour Party's misfortunes, as if they are celebrating the downfall of their rival. Some sociologists argue that this is the worst performance the Labour Party has seen in the last 2 decades.
You mentioned Keir Starmer just now, Steve. What's your verdict so far on how it's going?
Well, I'm a Labour supporter, but I do despair of the risk-free, be all things to all men approach of Keir Starmer, which I think is a fool's errand and might work in the short term, but eventually bites you on the bum further down the line. I know that is a decent man, but I think you sometimes you have to. You have to not try and please all the people all the time.
These were not merely minor complaints, they struck at the very heart of what the Labour Party is meant to represent. The shouts were so deafening that people outside thought they were at Wembley Stadium. The room was in utter disarray. Starmer attempted to defend himself, but he resembled a deer caught in headlights, trying to fend off attacks from every direction. Some MPs couldn't take it anymore and stormed out in disgust. By the end of it all, Starmer appeared utterly stunned, as if he had just been struck on the head. But here's the astonishing part. 15 MPs openly called for his resignation right in front of everyone. This isn't just a handful of disgruntled voices, it's a full-blown uprising. The criticism extended beyond mere political disagreements. MPs challenged Starmer's leadership skills, his dedication to Labour values, and his effectiveness as the leader of the opposition. They accused him of failing to hold the government accountable and lacking a clear vision for the party's future. And let's be real, most of us deal with stressful jobs, right? But imagine facing such hostility every single day. Picture coming to work knowing that a significant portion of your team views you as ineffective and wants you gone.
The mask has slipped. We now can see what Keir Starmer is all about. What do we do with our migrant crisis? Oh well, let's import Europe's. It's been really hard for us to stop migrants getting all the way to the UK. So what are we going to do? We're going to say, oh no, you don't need to get to the UK. You don't need to cross Europe. You don't need to cross the Channel. Just get yourself to Italy. Just get yourself to Greece. We'll hop you on a plane. And, we're struggling with 40,000. We've filled up literally every hotel in the country. That's all right. We will treble the numbers. But it's fine, because I, Keir Starmer, get to fly around the world with my Blairite buddies and hobnob with global leaders and do a deal stitched up without democracy, without scrutiny, look grand on the big stage. And when I'm done as Prime Minister, I'll go off and I'll chair some great UN body. This is everything that is wrong with our world. Nothing is happening. The British people are being taken for a fool. They're not getting...
The meeting with Trump is stirring up controversy among Labour leaders because it goes against the fundamental principles of social justice and equality. Just imagine trying to explain to your left-leaning voters why you're engaging in friendly discussions with Trump. But that's where things get interesting. Trump actually praised Starmer, stating that he was doing a fantastic job. If that isn't a devastating blow for the Labour leader, I don't know what is. The left wing of the party is facing a genuine crisis. They are threatening to protest if this meeting goes ahead. Labour MPs opposing their own leader is reminiscent of that political Spider-Man meme where everyone is pointing fingers at one another. Starmer is attempting to maintain his composure, insisting that this is merely diplomacy, but his deputies aren't buying it. They look at him as if he just proposed that everyone adopt a vegan lifestyle and enroll in yoga classes. There are even rumors that Labour MPs might boycott Parliament if Trump delivers a speech during his visit.
Listen, my advice to Keir Starmer is to stop being an idiot because, listen, Keir Starmer and half of the cabinet voted against President Trump's state visit last time round. We've got so many of members of the cabinet, David Lammy notably, having carried out vitriolic and ridiculous personal attacks on Donald Trump. They're all now desperately trying to backtrack and they're all desperately trying to suck up to President Trump. At best, they're going to be irrelevant. But at worst, they have done great harm to the UK's national interest. So they've got to grow up, stop playing petty student politics, and actually stand up for the UK, get a free trade agreement, work on ensuring our military and security agreements are robust, and learn the lessons of how Donald Trump is securing their border for a start.
2 decades. It seems the Labour Party has opted to dig a basement to find out just how low they can go. The young voters who were once Starmer's strongest supporters are now abandoning him faster than you can spend your student loans. And let's not forget that all of this is unfolding just as Trump is set to visit the UK. It appears the Labour Party has picked the worst possible time for a crisis, with the world's media ready to shine a spotlight on them, as if they've become the stars of a tragic play. So what options are left for the Labour Party? Their support in the polls has plummeted to 28%. The lowest since Starmer took the helm. It feels like a political competition stuck in limbo. How much further can they fall? Perhaps it's time for Starmer to start polishing his resume. Share your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.